not the only one who was frustrated by his educational traditional thing, which was still pre-war theories. But after our exams, I started to try academic usual thing to get what you call a PhD, but it soon bored me, and I went back to practice and decided to learn in practice. So this practice was coming out in a way that I found that I'm not the only one who was frustrated. And soon we found a number of people, same like me, came from university and studied economics and thought they were great. And we found out we are not so great. So we got together and started reforming management. You have to first define it, because management didn't exist in Germany. Everything was commanded from the top. You know what happened in the Nazi time, but it's not only there. Everywhere in the world, this was the old way. So we had to find something new. And so slowly we worked ourselves up, and we had developed, and that's not the subject here, a beautiful concept for management education. But don't think that every interesting endeavor which has substance will also have a result politically. It was my very first failed vision. We were 160 people working on something very concrete. We got a nice result. Some of our participants became professors, became practitioners in other various fields, could use it, but university didn't move. These rubber walls were like rubber walls. We couldn't change anything. And it took many, many years before we could change that. But there was something grained, set in my mind, I have to change things. What? I didn't know yet. So it started out with business first, and it went out quite normally, and I slowly, and then I became a management trainer, marketing management, creativity trainer, which was nice and rewarding financially, until I had more fun making this and more money also than what my father could offer me in our old company firm. And this was, of course, tickling my mind and my ego, and I almost quit the family. But then I went to my father and said, "Here, come on, I have an offer here from some big company, everybody knows the name, but I won't bother you with this, to start a management training system in this company. This will be really a challenge." But then he said, "But you are our son, why don't you continue with that?" And I said, "Okay, make a contract with me." And he had a lawyer, I had a lawyer, and then from 1991, I was then becoming next to him the president of our own company, and things went on normally. Relatively normally. And then 10 years later, we had our 100-year jubilee, this was all a lot of work and so on, and then I had a skiing accident and I couldn't go skiing anymore at Christmas, and then came the first wake-up call. The wake-up call was not to go skiing, because I couldn't, it was simply hurting too much. Go to the Caribbean and see what's happening in the Caribbean with this music. First I was a bit fearful. I went to conventional islands where there were many tourists, it was all, and the local people were there to serve us, and it was very, I thought, peaceful. But then in the night, I was witnessing, as one of the very first non-dark people, an intensive local fest. And the rhythm of this fete touched my stomach. And later I realized this is a waking call to music, to rhythm. I didn't understand that, but it drew me more and more into more real and deeper happenings in the Caribbean. And in 1980, finally at Christmas, to Haiti, because this was the best music, fantastic music, and that all that counted for me in this framework for those short winter holidays. On the 1st of January, 1981, I remember this precisely, some young man talked to me in the street, which is usual in Haiti. You talk to any time because people want some money, and that's normal, and you have to live with that there. But somehow my little finger, my antenna told me there's something behind what they said that is at least worth looking. besides the fact that you couldn't dance in the daytime. So I went with them, and it was a shock. They said they have an orphanage, and there were 60 children sleeping on the floor with nothing. And it was true. This was deep, I still feel it now. This was a real deep shock at the time, and it created in me not something noetic, it just created the very normal human feeling, I have to do something. I cannot just go here dancing here and enjoying my music and not doing anything. That started some new life already, but it's not the life from the other source yet. But it was simply the desire of doing something, and it started a new learning process. Because I thought with my education which I had before, plus what I learned with my other friends there in addition, I could certainly know what to help in Haiti, how to help in Haiti. Well, it took also another year or so until I realized that with my own money, so it was not a big drama because it was little money for my own, what I did there was maybe okay, but not what it should do. As an entrepreneur, you want to spend your money to make it useful, no? For your purpose. And my purpose was to help these poor kids somehow. And I really realized slowly I have to first learn. Learn and humbly learn first, something like we call it in German, Demut. What do you call this in English? Demut, humbleness, I think is the right word. Humbleness. And you first have to learn to listen. To listen. So I went in, I was lured in the village by someone who helped me there to find a place where I could do something. And I was sitting with these people literally under a palava tree, a big tree, the last tree which was left there. And they gave me a chair, wow. Next to me was another chair for the priest. And then the other sitting around on the floor or so, and it was still on the same level. And again, I was learning, listening, and realized that all my nice ideas which I had from Germany, from as a successful business person, doing management, training, it wouldn't have much sense here in Haiti. I tried it anyway. I did some management seminars, simple management of 2 days. In the beginning it was a disaster because I used the wrong images. Images there which people considered as devils. Because there's another culture. There's another thing you have to learn first. So I made them black. It was all done by hand at the time. It was not yet computerized. So I came back with black figures. Then someone told me, we aren't black. We're nice and brown. So I repainted, had these repainted, and slowly my seminar for 2 days was repeated in other circles, even for government people, even once for school directors, which was not much different from the intellectual level than the countryside. It's something interesting. But I mean, I learned a lot. I learned mainly that I must learn. I must learn first if I want to help. And this was a process which took about 5 years. Then some instance, and then they told me what we need a lot of help, but what we need most is for our children. I said, okay, what do I do with children? I have no idea. I was unmarried, had a girlfriend of course, but we were not having children, and so what do I do? So innocently, I created the country kindergarten in this village. But I was not capable of choosing the right children because there were hundreds of children who were poor. So I asked UNICEF. UNICEF was also in Haiti. They made unsuccessful child programs there. Later, that's a different story. I don't want to talk about unsuccessful things. So, but they had also made the same mistakes really that I made. They thought their methods would work there. All right. Even big companies can make the same mistakes, right? And this was a good example. So I still asked them to help me to select the children. Then they asked me, why do you do this in the countryside? He said, yeah, because I met these people, and here they asked me to help. I said, okay, but anyway, you know, this is the first kindergarten in the countryside. And then I was again somewhere else, because I think doing something sensible is not a contradiction to doing something nice in life. And I had carnival in Trinidad, not too far from there. And since I'm from the Rhineland in Germany, we are carnival people. But I like this Caribbean carnival due to the rhythm much more than our own carnival. So I went to Trinidad, and there, in the same costume, we had wings. We got butterflies. I was there with my German girlfriend. We had a nice blue wings, but there was another group of masked players, they call it carnival players, with much more beautiful wings. And one of them was so beautiful, I had to take pictures of her. You know, and yes, it was a trick. But I mean, what happened? Then she studied in the last phase of Montessori studies in London. So I had a customer in London. So when I came back, I have to visit my customer, no? And then we quickly, she was quite gentle with me in the sense that she said, oh, that's nice when you do this to our Caribbean brothers. She was much more educated because she was from Trinidad, but I want to see this. I said, okay, come along. Pack up Montessori material in a suitcase, come along, and we test Montessori in our first kindergarten in San Suzanne, in this village in the north of Haiti. The children were fantastic, but there were no teachers. So what do we do? So we tried teacher training in a few weeks. No way. You have to change something completely different culturally. And we didn't want to change anything. We just wanted children to benefit. So we had to really learn. We have to do something from scratch. And after several mistakes, we started yearly programs. And yearly programs started then in 1986 with yearly programs, and this became a success. But now what comes, where is the promise that I wanted to present something which comes from another dimension? This was a business person's endeavor to do something which works. Okay, cool, quite nothing special. No noetic ideas or anything behind it. Just the intention to want to do something. But then came the moment and I asked myself, why do I spend my time in such an unpleasant way with people who don't even thank you for this? They milk the cows, come there, the white people who are milked, they bring some money and some help, but they don't cooperate really. They did not cooperate really. So I thought this is frustrating. But then I asked myself, why do I do this? So there must be some other source somewhere which influences me without knowing. So I started again, well, you may call it praying. It was more like a meditative reflection. I want to know, what is my real purpose here? What is the purpose of our humanity in such a dreadful situation where people cannot survive even in the simplest way? Then I thought, this is a good question, no? I thought I'd get an answer. I had to be patient, and it took me quite some time before I woke up, and that is in October 89. In the middle of the night, I woke up, and I have to drink a little bit of water, and this was the start of a truly, I have it here.